Hi guys, it's Arsh Ellahi, and in today's session we're going to be talking about the UK property market update because I believe that now we're getting to crunch point. When we talk about crunch point, we're talking about what's going on in the market, what the government are doing, how and why they're doing the things that they're doing. We're not going to talk about conspiracies because that's not what I'm about. I'm just talking about the stuff that we're experiencing and why we're experiencing and the effects it's going to have on the UK economy. Before we do that, I want to say a quick hello and welcome to all new subscribers, all new watchers to the channel. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're taking away lots of golden nuggets and lots of great information, and you're sharing it with other people that you know that will like this information. So let's get straight into it. We're going into second lockdown. Well, we are technically speaking in second lockdown, but no one really knows what this lockdown is all about. Is it a lockdown? Is it not a lockdown? Is it a watered down lockdown? Now, it's become apparent that the government really don't like the hospitality industry. Well, when I say really don't like the hospitality industry, they're really penalising the hospitality industry. You know, with property, we've been okay so far. When I say okay so far, they've kind of assisted us, they kind of helped us, they're allowing us to keep going, other than the fact that they're not allowing us to evict anyone if a tenant is in arrears, etc., that we can't evict. We seem to be okay. We've fared that we've weathered the storm quite well, I think, as property investors. Now, however, when we look at what's going on, I think October is a key turning point. Now, when we're recording this, it's heading towards the end of September. So October is going to be a massive turning point because this is where furlough payments stop. This is where the truth gets told. At the moment, everyone's been sat under this, under this blanket of comfort. And so as a result, we're going to see what really happens and the effects that the coronavirus and COVID-19 has had on the economy. Now, if I'm honest, I don't understand the reason why the government has hit the hospitality industry so much in terms of bars, nightclubs, restaurants, etc., saying that they have to close at 10 p.m. or there's a curfew. And the reason why I don't understand it is because only a couple of months ago, they were saying, guys, okay, here's an incentive to go out and eat out. And what I don't understand is that they've gone out and given them this incentive. They've made all the restaurants very busy. And restaurants, you speak to restaurant owners, you speak to cafe owners or anyone that was in that industry. They said, we've never been so busy. I went to a restaurant a couple of weeks back whilst we're still in that incentive. And some of them said that they had queues for up to an hour or longer of people waiting to get it in to eat. And it was fantastic. He goes that it's kind of like Corona never really happened because the money they lost, they kind of made back up in that short period. Now, all of a sudden, the government said, guys, okay, for some reason, Corona only comes out after 10 p.m. So therefore, people only get Corona after 10 p.m. So therefore, all the hospitality industry, the bars, the restaurants, and the nightclubs, etc., have to close at 10 p.m. I don't really understand the reason or the rationale behind it because generally speaking, they're saying that there's lots of people congregate in these venues, but yet these venues have bent over backwards to try and accommodate the new laws. So they've kept the social distancing laws, there's been table service, there's track and trace. I'll come on to track and trace in a second because I think that's phenomenal what they've done there. Now, again, not conspiracies, just looking at what they've done. I think the track and trace really was a great incentive for COVID, but also a great incentive for the government. Now, when I say a great incentive for the government, when else would they have had the opportunity to get almost like a national register of everyone that's in the UK? Think about it. Everywhere you go, you have to kind of scan yourself in. They've got an app for track and trace. Now, I don't think the app did as well as they expected it to do. However, what they did, they put the pressure on all the restaurants to say, guys, if you want to accommodate these people or you want to accommodate the public, you now have to make a register of everyone that comes to you. And I think it's phenomenal, because what's happened is that all this information has to be fed back to the government. Guess what? They've now got this national database. And this will then start to run in line with people checking on their taxes, checking on are they meant to be in the UK, are they not meant to be in the UK? Before, they would never have been able to implement such a power to generate such a register. So this gives them an interesting point. And the other interesting point that I thought was quite interesting, I've kind of gone off track here, but stick with me for a second. The fact that they're pushing businesses not to take cash and the way that they're saying not to take cash is to stop the spread of COVID, so to stop the transfer of money exchanging hands, because money is a filthy and a very dirty commodity. However, what they're saying is that make everything contactless now, or make everything a card transaction. Now, why are they doing that? And why they're doing that? And it's very simple, that they want to become a cashless society. They want to turn the UK into a cashless society so that they can track what money is coming in and what, where and how, so they can see, in essence, cutting out what I would consider the grey market or the black market. So cash transactions, if you go into a shop now and try and pay for something in cash, very few shops will accept cash. A lot of them want to do card transactions, and they've been told to do card transactions, and the reason they want to do that is because then the government can start to see what businesses are actually turning over, which means that they will then start to be taxed correctly. Whereas, let's just use an example. Let's just say a fish and chip shop. Now, previously, I didn't know many chip shops that accepted card payments because of the low amount of the chips. Let's say a bag of chips is £2, for argument's sake. Lots of people will just pay £2 in cash. Now they have to pay £2 on a debit card. And previously, I'm not saying that there isn't, but I'm just giving you an example, that the chip shop may not have declared all the £2 that they were collecting, and probably keeping under some kind of tax threshold. And it does happen. Unfortunately, this does happen in lots of different businesses. So lots of takeaways and etc. When you go to a place and they only accept cash, there's a reason why they're only accepting cash. It's not because they don't want to take a debit card machine or credit card machine. It's because they don't want to declare all their income. And unfortunately, that's what happens. So now, as a result of them becoming a cashless society, the government are now going to start to see how much are they actually turning over, and should they be taxing accordingly. So you may not think about this, but subliminally, these are all the things that the government are putting in place to make sure that, all the bounce back loans and all the other loans that we've had, we're now going to start to get taxed on them. So all the bounce back loans, all the grants, all the furlough payments and everything like that, that's all now going to start to come out the wash. The government is starting to reclaim and recall. So the first thing that they've done is they've created the register. So they're going to start to tax everyone. Second thing, the cashless. Now they can start to see the real worth of what the businesses are turning over and tax them correctly. Now, when it comes to property, this is going to be a really interesting point, because now, previously, they're saying, everyone go back to work. Everyone go back to work. Go back to your offices. Let's start to get back to some form of normality. This week, they say, guys, work from home as much as you can. Now, this is putting pressure on some of the employers, because not only are they working from home, but also now the government are saying that, we're not 100% sure what's going to happen yet, but they're saying that the furlough payments are going to stop. And this is going to be the testing point, because once that, I've called it in a few videos previously, once the money tap is off, we will see the true test of what happens to the economy. How many employers are going to maintain their workforce? Because let's face it, up to now, it's not cost them anything. The people that have been working and have been getting or been receiving furlough payments, it's not cost them anything. So they've kept them there to try and help their employees. Once the money tap has turned off, now let's just use the hospitality industry as an example. The government had told them to reduce their working hours, which means that it's going to reduce their income, but yet also we're going to also turn off the money tap. So they've got a limited amount of time that they can work. So let's just say a nightclub. How many nightclubs do you know that actually open at 10 p.m? Very little. But if they have to shut at 10 p.m, that means that their operation is now obsolete. What support are they going to get for that? Previously, they had the government loans and the furlough payments. What's going to happen with that? So we've got to look at that, because we're going to see lots of fatalities as a result of this. Offices, commercial, residential, these are all the things that are going to start to come to the forefront. We're going to see a higher unemployment rate. We're going to see people now not going to be able to afford their rent. We're not going to be able to see people afford their mortgages. We're going to start to see an increase in repossessions. I don't think the repossessions are going to happen straight away. I do think there will be a leniency with mortgage companies, and they'll say, guys, okay, let's kind of work together, because normally mortgage companies don't like to see people on benefits, and they don't like to have people trying to be reliant on benefits to pay their mortgages. I think there will have to be a level of leniency, because we've never really come across this before, this world pandemic. So that will be an interesting point. What will really be interesting is the commercial sector and what happens to some of the retail space. We've seen, I'll mention this in previous videos, in Birmingham, John Lewis walked out of Grand Central. That's taken up almost like 25% of Grand Central. Who's going to want to take that space? Someone owns that building. So someone is taking a massive hit on their rent there. I've seen high streets nationwide, shops are shut. Wolverhampton, you walk down the high street, it's like a ghost town. People own these buildings, and as a result of owning them, they're getting hit with their business rates. They're getting hit with all the other bills. There's only a level of time. If you look in the auctions now, how many commercial properties are you actually seeing go up for sale? I saw a property in Wolverhampton that was previously valued at circa 600,000 to 700,000, now only achieving circa 375 in an auction. It's a phenomenal deal, but there's a risk attached to it. What do you do with it? Can you still run it as retail? Is there still going to be sufficient demand there? I doubt there will, so there's got to be a plan B. Plan B is that you turn it into residential. There's always a risk attached to that, but you can kind of bank on the fact that there's always going to be people that need places to live. So residential will always be okay. We're going to see a massive increase in universal credits. We're going to see a massive increase in unemployment. We're going to see a massive increase in what's going to happen. When I say we're going to see a massive change in what's going to happen over the next few months. I think going into October, I thought we went into recession earlier on in the year. We had a couple of good months where the help out to eat out and the government was trying to get our economy working again, giving us all these incentives. And I think what they were doing, they unfortunately went back down into recession. They've allowed us to try and curve back up. Now we're going to dip straight back down. Now, unfortunately, that is inevitable. And it'll be interesting to see what happens over October, November, December. We've got to remember now with the new lockdown rules, we're only allowed to see it to 6 people. What's going to happen to Christmas? That's going to have a massive impact on shopping. Normally, people congregate quite a lot over Christmas. Bars, restaurants, everyone's really busy over Christmas time. What's going to happen there? We start thinking about what's going to happen in 2021. Unfortunately, the wedding industry has taken an absolute beating. You can only have 15 people at your wedding. Now, that might suit some people, that they only want 15 people at the wedding. But I was speaking to a friend of mine who's a wedding photographer, and his bookings are being cancelled left, right and centre. He's now having to go and try and find a job because he doesn't think that the wedding photography industry is going to be right for him for the next year. So when you think about all the different industries and the impact that it's having, you can't help but notice that we're in a bad place, and we're going to continue to be in a bad place for at least 6, 12 to even 24 months. So guys, hopefully that's give you something to think about. There's lots going on, and don't just take it for granted. There's lots of conspiracy theories going out there. I don't read the conspiracy theories. Well, tell you like, I do read them. Do I believe them? I'm 50-50. There's lots of kind of stuff going on about Bill Gates and stuff. I don't really understand it, if I'm honest. I'm quite a simple guy. I like to kind of have a look at what's going on, what they've said, what's happening in the real world, speaking to people who are in the industry and seeing how they're reacting to it as well. And we are in a bad place. you know, unfortunately, that is a fact. We are in a really bad place, and I think it's only going to get worse over the next 12 to 24 months. So, you know, if you're in a position where you can tread water, and you may need to just tread water for the next 24 months, especially if you're in the hospitality industry. You know, if you can survive. One of my mates that runs events, he goes, I'll be surprised if I'm still here. Well, when I say still here as a business, in 12 months. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, let's support each other, let's work together, let's see how we can get through this together. On that note, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this session. Hopefully you've seen a bit of truth in what I've said there. You know, I don't use these big words. I try and make it as real as I can for you guys to make your own decision and mind up as well. As always, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on social media. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram under the name Arsh Ellahi. If you like free content and you want more free content, why don't you listen to my podcast, which I release every Tuesday? Release podcast every Tuesday. It's called The Property Rebel. You download it from from iTunes. You can find it on Spotify. I think we're on some of the other platforms. So I know we're on SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, etc. So type in Property Rebel and you'll be able to see, I think we've got best part of 30 odd podcasts there for you to listen to. And they are all property based and business based. Finally, if you are looking for property deals, so if you are thinking, well, now's the right time to buy because it's the right prices, why don't you download the Property Investor app? I'm the founder of the UK's first property investment marketplace app, which showcases all kinds of investment deals all over the UK. BMV deals, below market value deals, rent-to-rent deals, lease option deals, commercial deals, residential deals. Today, just before I started this recording, just about to list a block of 6 two-bedroom flats, which are circa 20 to 25% below market value. If you're looking for a great deal, that's the place to be. Download the app. You can go to the website www.propertyinvestораpp.co.uk, or you can go to the App Store, whether you've got an iOS device or Android device, and type in Property Investor. It takes 2 minutes to download and register, and within the palm of your hand, you'll see hundreds of property deals all over the UK. But on that note, guys, as always, in this very testing time, I wish you all to be safe, healthy, and happy. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye.